On this week's episode, we're going to be discussing the JP Morgan stablecoin and their entry into crypto. We're also going to be discussing a major hack that happened in the Middle East with an exchange. And a company that's going public in the US, but a couple months ago had an SEC probe. Finally, we're going to end off with some good news with BitGet and UNICEF officially joining hands. And when it comes to our trading competition, you're going to want to hear how this ended.
NFA Podcast with Nish and Frackers.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the NFA Podcast, your weekly podcast where we deliver news, insights, and market recap information of everything that you need to not make financial decisions. I just want to start off by saying NFA stands for not financial advice, but it also stands for Niche, Frackers, and anyone else listening. So welcome to our podcast this week.
So there's so much news again this week. You go first, ladies first.
For my markets news, a couple of different things have happened this week. JP Morgan is launching a stablecoin. So that's really interesting. There's a lot of speculation on what's going on. They've brought in a new blockchain expert to come in. There are also rumors of them launching their own ETF, but we'll see what happens. Next, I have Iran's exchange was hacked, and it's now come out this week that it's hacked by pro-Israelis that have discarded the money. And it was actually...
Was it a crypto exchange or regular exchange?
No, it was a crypto exchange. It was their largest crypto exchange, and they were hacked for $100 million. And this I just can't really get behind, because I understand if you're hacking it because you want to make a better life for yourself, but to hack the money and just discard it, it just is nonsensical to me. It's just so...
Is that what happened? Did they what happened with the hack? What happened with the money?
Apparently they burnt the tokens.
Well, that's sort of, it's not Robin Hood, right? Robin Hood would steal from the rich and then give to the poor.
Or at least
This
feed
is stealing
yourself.
from the...
You know, like if you're going to commit a crime, reap the benefits of that crime. But instead,
well, I guess this is more hurting the other people. Maybe this hurts more.
It's just very vindictive, you know. It's not about the government. It's about the people, you know. Like human to human, I think a line has been crossed, you know. And it's just at what point do you say, well, I'm not my government, you know, and I'm okay to still be a human.
Well, did they steal the crypto from the Iranian government, or did they steal the crypto from Iranian people?
It was from people.
That is sad. I didn't get that part at all.
Yeah.
That is sad because there was just a beautiful thing that I saw about a guy that did a 1 month long bike ride through Iran, and he shared little bits from everything he saw, but especially from people he met, and they're such a sweet people. There are so many. Well, there's beautiful people everywhere, but they were giving him food and giving him drinks and sharing their food with him, their meals and everything. Also, poor people. It was such a sweet thing to see. And then the next thing you know, you see these rockets go up, and I'm thinking of those people where they're landing. I hope they're not hitting the civilian population.
They're so close. Yeah, actually, if you go to Ras Al Khaimah, you can see Iran. On to better news. So.
Can't wait.
BitGet and UNICEF have partnered to educate 300,000 girls across the world. They've picked 8 different countries. They include some developing nations. But yeah, they've put in $10 million to kind of, be part of the CSR program that they're launching. So that's good.
And the rumor has it that a mysterious $100 million appeared suddenly in this program. And... out of nowhere, and it's really weird.
That's crazy. I wonder how that happened. And I want to end on a bit of a humorous note here, or maybe an ironic note here. So, as you know, a lot has shifted since Trump has come into office, and
the big D.
There was a really big. No, we don't want to call it that. So there was this probe. There was this U.S. probe against Tron by the SEC, and Justin Sun was under scrutiny. He was in a lot of trouble. Obviously, with Trump coming in office, things have changed and things have shifted, and he's been pardoned. And now Tron is going public in the U.S.
I saw that he bought Trump coin, but I could be wrong. If I read the article correctly, he bought Trump coin. Yeah. And did he become an advisor of it, or did he appoint? No, he appointed Eric Trump
Yes.
as an advisor to
Tron.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with SEC probe being dropped, of course.
No, of course not. Of course not. We all
Unrelated.
know. This goes back to our last week's episode where we talked about how much money Trump has made off of crypto.
It is insane.
Yeah.
And you know why I think it's a little bit sad in a way that we talk about it, because we look at it for this podcast because we're about crypto and innovation and Web3 and tech. So we only look through that scope, because I'm not interested in making a political podcast. Luckily, neither are you.
Yeah.
But of course, there's a much bigger thing at play here that you're alluding to, like the big question about corruption and those kind of things.
I don't
At the
think
same
it's
time,
even a
having said
question
that,
anymore. It's open. It's open. There's just
yeah, but you cannot prove those things are related. That's the whole thing. He can also do it. I'm really neutral in this. If this were any other president, right, or doesn't matter who it is, he can also be convinced this is good policy. Just the fact his family is reaping the rewards doesn't mean that he's doing it because the family is reaping rewards. Meaning, if he would have, let's say, like other presidents have done in the past, President George W. Bush, lower taxes, which is really good for his family. And it was really good for the rich Republicans. That doesn't mean he did it because his family would get richer. Maybe he just thinks it's good. And there was less criticism of George W. Bush then than there is now of Trump. So I still think there is a little bit of...
I think it happens every term, right? Initially during the war, we had, what was Halliburton, that skyrocketed in profits, and the president at the time...
Dick Cheney profited, yes.
A lot. This happens every single term.
That was little D.
But now, I refuse to play into those. But now it's happening openly. So I guess it's just,
it's clear that these things happen in the short term. But on the other hand, I don't know, and I will still defend the crypto folks in this, I don't know if this SEC probe towards Tron was warranted. Because I still think the SEC in the last years under Biden did crazy things. So I'm not sure if this SEC probe had any merit. I can't judge because I don't know the details of the case.
I don't think that it was warranted. But to be honest, none of them were. Maybe the one with Binance for AML. But, as far as they go, you have to remember that Binance came around before AML was even a thing. Crypto was not mainstream.
In crypto, but AML was a thing. AML was a thing in the world.
Yeah. But in crypto, and what's to say MetaMask, which is based in New York, what are they doing for AML? They're decentralized wallet. Yeah.
It's a really good point that you're making. It is true. And I've tried to look at that thing with MetaMask also from both sides. I think they're a software tool.
Yeah.
But you can also say they're providing a service that allows for money laundering. And there's definitely a fine line in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to attack the company that provides the service. I think you would have to look at the moments it goes in and out of crypto, at the fiat gateways, which are the banks.
No, I agree. The source does have to be there, but it's also a bit late. I mean, Bitcoin's been around since 2008? So you can't expect to track every single transaction since then. That of incoming crypto, especially not with like Silk Road and all these other.
True. Yes, on my side in the tech world, there was this really, really interesting thing happening that Meta apparently is failing on its AI efforts. And
oh, yes.
to get to get ahead of the game again, they bought a company called Scale. AI, of course, not just Scale AI. You got to be AI now. Scale is a company that does a lot of testing of the functionality of LLMs. I think if I say it in the shortest way. And is run by really, really smart people. And according to the CEO and co-founder of OpenAI, Sam Altman, Meta is paying researchers over $100 million a year.
That's insane. Yeah.
So if your kid sucks at playing soccer, just tell him, stop. You won't be the next Ronaldo or Messi. The odds are minimal. Go and learn how to be a good AI developer. You can make $100 million a year. A few things about this, of course. First, Nish, the source is a competitor. It's OpenAI, and it's Sam Altman. how credible is the source? Not sure.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know if you saw his
And
interview, but he didn't say that they were paying 100 million. He said the sign-on bonus for certain employees was 100 million.
that's a good point. Just a signing bonus. Then the salary goes on top of it.
Yes.
So that's extra. But I still remember, though, and we've had this discussion a few times, I do really respect Mark Zuckerberg as a businessman.
I'm sorry, but like WhatsApp is really starting to get annoying. Like it's so annoying the way that they're shoving AI down your throat. I'm searching for chats and contacts, and it's like, what kind of cake do I get? And I'm like, I
I'm
don't
searching
know.
for you to send you the message like I'm in the studio, where we're hooking everything up, and I'm sending you. And to find niche, I was getting the Dutch word for nothing because it understands that sometimes I look for a Dutch person, sometimes an American.
It just makes it look. As soon as I click
Why would I
search,
look for nothing in WhatsApp, Niche? Why would I look for nothing in WhatsApp? Think about it. Who is searching for the word nothing?
I need help with my school assignment. Yeah, let me go on WhatsApp on this tiny screen and search for help on my dissertation. Like,
So Microsoft and OpenAI are openly feuding now. So Microsoft owns 49% of OpenAI, and OpenAI needs the approval of Microsoft to become a commercial for-profit company, which it isn't now. Right now, the rest of the shares are held by a not-for-profit foundation. OpenAI doesn't have a moat around this technology, some huge competitive advantage that it can beat everyone. Yeah. He doesn't value that stake, that 49% in OpenAI, at the valuation of the 300 billion, clearly, which at what rate it did the last round. But here it gets really interesting. They only get that money from SoftBank at a 300 billion valuation but before the end of the year, they become a commercial company. I thought it had been paid already, and it was unconditional, but it was a conditional investment, and Microsoft can block it.
But isn't it in Microsoft's best interest as well, since it owns such a large percentage?
Now you're getting to the point of it. What I find so amazing is I thought he wouldn't care, just like, hey, I got 49%, let it go up, and we'll float the company, and I'm doing what. But for Microsoft, owning 150 billion when you're over 3 trillion yourself, it's a drop in the bucket. What he wants is really interesting. He's got a part in the contract with OpenAI, aside from having the shares, that all compute that OpenAI uses has to be used from Microsoft. So it's a huge customer. So he's actually, he likes them as a customer first. And the first gets better. The first 92 billion, I believe, in revenue that OpenAI gets goes to Microsoft. And they're not there by far. And he doesn't want to give that up. He'd rather have that revenue. So I started calculating, you know why? On that revenue for Microsoft, 90 billion, with their incredibly high profit margin and their high PE ratio, actually he makes that up in stock value a lot more than 49% of OpenAI.
Really?
I think I cracked the code.
That's so interesting.
If he gets from them every year 10, 20 billion, and he makes a 50% margin, and their PE ratio is 20-31, that's actually more than the stake, and it's on a continual annual basis. So he may dilute his stake in OpenAI, but he will definitely not let go of the revenue guarantee and that customer guarantee that they have to become customers of Microsoft and remain customers of Microsoft. So I think Nadella is super smart. So he, to me, is the number one tech CEO by far. And then there's nothing for a long time. And then I cannot even name a number two. Maybe Tim Cook of Apple. But yeah, I think he's smart. And he really basically just said, OpenAI does not have a competitive advantage compared to Claude, Anthropic, DeepSeek, you name them, Meta even. And that's kind of hard if your shareholder basically says, hey, I don't think you got a competitive advantage. I don't think I need your 49% stake in your company. Just give me your revenue and give me your revenue and give me your, your compute customer business. So yeah, it's fascinating to me what's going on. So basically, if Nadella is right, Mark Zuckerberg is wrong, and people are not worth 100 million in this space.
My theory with Mark Zuckerberg is that he is trying to compete with Elon Musk. I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden he starts space exploration as well. So with Elon, his company, Tesla, is a data company. It's not a car company. They actually work on data. And Mark Zuckerberg has a lot of data, a lot from Facebook, Meta, Instagram. And he's been in so many lawsuits. regarding data. I personally feel like this is just a competition between Elon and Mark, which is why he even launched Threads. It just keeps going.
Horrific.
Yeah.
I fully agree. I always say, and this is not because I'm so tall, because in Holland I'm short, but if Mark Zuckerberg would be 3 inches taller, the world would have 50% less problems. Because I think this is an ego thing. I think he wants to be the richest man in the world and does whatever it takes to get
I think that's what Trump is up to.
I think Trump likes attention. It's different. I don't think he wants to be the richest man in the world. I think he wants to be the most talked about man in the world.
$600 million of income this year.
Yeah, but I think he would trade it for being on the front page of the New York Times every day just to piss off the left-wing people. I mean, I think his ego is at a level where it's this unquenchable thirst for attention. Is what it looks like to me.
Regarding Mark Zuckerberg and his height, I had to Google it, and he's 170 centimeters or 5'7". So it makes sense.
And I have short people. I have short friends. I have short people in my family. I have nothing against short people. But what I've noticed that some short people, more on average than taller people, have this tendency to be very, I would say, aggressive, more macho.
It's called short man syndrome. And that's what the character Lord Farquaad is based on in Shrek. There was a study published by MIT that showed that users that were actively using AI had a lot less cognitive behaviors versus users that did not use AI, meaning that they were just not using their brain the way that they used to, and they could not remember what they had written. They just their entire task, it just completely slowed them down.
It's really scary. So I didn't read the 200-page study, but I read the article about the study, as I usually do. So there's 2 groups that they did. I love the control group. So it was using LLMs first, then writing an essay, or writing an essay first, then using an LLM. If you write first and then use an LLM, you do great, better than before. If you use the LLM first and then write, you basically suck. However, if you use the LLM for giving you structure and the way to write the story, not the creative part, but the structure, then you actually do best. Yeah. It's almost like, if you use LLMs a lot, like stop moving and sitting in a chair all day. What it does for your body. The same effect on your brain.
Your brain is not a muscle, but let's say that it is for this scenario. Yeah. It's the same thing. As soon as you stop using the muscle, it's going to atrophy. You need to exercise it. You just need to exercise that brain. It's the same thing that I do in university. My first assignment, I thought, let me try and use AI. Couldn't remember a thing about it, right? Submit it, whatever. Didn't get great feedback. Couldn't remember what I wrote anyway. The second time, I was like, I don't even want to use AI. Got the structure from AI, wrote everything out personally, really dedicated the hours into this assignment. And I can still remember everything from almost a year ago.
So, we're going to our favorite part, markets.
Yes.
Second part of our brilliant show. Anything happen in markets?
Well, yes. There was an interview that was released by Tucker Carlson with Senator Ted Cruz. Basically, he interviewed Ted Cruz. First asked him if he knew anything about Iran. He's like, nah, why do I care? And he goes, well, you're trying to overthrow the government. Don't you need to know a little bit? Either way.
He didn't even know how many people. He didn't know the population of Iran.
No, none. And then he goes, yeah, well, we are bombing Iran. And he goes, we? And he's like, yeah, we're backing Israel. And Tucker Carlson basically goes, well, you're breaking news here. Anyways, that one word, saying we, tanked the markets. Everything crashed. Yeah. No one wants this. It's a mess. So there's been volatility in the markets this week. There was a video released by Anonymous. I'm not sure if you saw that. Obviously, we're not a political show, but if you're interested, I think maybe just add the link in show notes and you guys can read more about that and understand why the markets are unstable right now.
Well, the other news in markets basically was that, for me at least, that it stayed relatively stable. I don't think, again, the drop was as crazy. I remember 91, the first Gulf War and the second one. The swings were a lot bigger than now. So I don't know what that says about the markets. Maybe like you said last week, like it's priced in. Everybody's just expecting it. It's a shit show and we're just here for the ride.
Well, the markets were recovering when this came out. And now it's gone back to being stable. So over the last week, there's been a 0.72% change with Bitcoin. But if you look at the chart, it's actually, we were recovering, you know?
Yeah, but recovering from what? It's still over 100,000, which is already amazing. So if you look at it, if you look at our predictions, right? You said last week Bitcoin would be up this week. What is it right now?
104,738.
Oh, so it's up because it was 104,400 last week.
Yes.
So
technically,
yes, you're right. So and then okay, let's do price predictions for next week. What is your guess that's going to happen with Bitcoin and with alts in the next 7 days?
I'd say up.
I'm also going to say up. Okay, so we're sort of in agreement. Then we go to the trading competition.
Oh man. Okay, you go first. You first. And then I'll tell you about my roller coaster of a week.
So we started in early June, 3 weeks ago. I had $100 to start with. I put 50 in Bitcoin and I put 50 in two stocks, 25 in Broadcom and 25 in NVIDIA. Here we are. Right now I'm up 2.69%. Da-da-da-da-da. That's me. Now, back to you. So yeah, let me detail a little bit. In Bitcoin, I bought at 104. I bought at 104,200. It's now at 104,800. So I'm up a little. But in fairness to Nvidia, my boys, I bought at 137. It's now at 145. And Broadcom bought at 242. It's now 251. If you think about how the market is, there's a war in the meantime. I'm still up. 2.69%. Yay.
Yay.
Now to you. How was your week?
Okay, so I went on PumpFun and I made a lot of money at the start of the week. So the thing is, actually, wait, let me give some backstory here. I had $140 and again, 22 of that it remains in stable. Okay.
Yes.
Now, out of my $123, I decided to go on PumpFun and gamble it and ended with $6 in my account. And I managed to get it back up from $6 to $210, which I'm proud about. But the sad thing is I did not sell. Instead, I sent Michael a screenshot.
He sends me a screenshot, people, at, in my time, 7 p.m., it's at 210.95. That's why I have 211 in my head, but you're right, 210. It went up. Listen to this. 3,663.37%. I'm looking at it going, well, I'm going to a party now and let's talk later. I'm standing at the party. I check a message, which I rarely do. I never look at my phone. Just because I was curious if she sent another one that it went up. What's the next one that you send me? 2 hours later...
$40.
$40. There's 2 hours in between.
I got rugged. Yeah.
It is shocking, though.
You know what, though? It was played out so well. This token, it basically had this game, and it was linked to a website, legitimate website, Twitter, everything was set up already. And
legitimate Twitter. Wow, they had a legitimate Twitter. Whew,
they're not even Twitter, Twitter community. But the weird thing is now the website, it was basically like, it was a game. So you have different countries and you can buy the country. And when you buy it, you basically launch a token on PumpFun. So it automatically launches the token for you. But now when your token on PumpFun hits a market cap of $30,000, that's when your country becomes legitimate. As soon as it drops, your country dies out and someone else can overthrow the government and take over. So the narrative was really fun. Okay. Now,
what a fun idea! That actually, yeah, I like games.
Great.
So,
yeah. It was great. Now I got in at $100,000 market cap. It went up to $4 million. I was so happy with the way that it was.
40x.
But also at the same time, I was also trading some of the country tokens. So it was USA and Chad, which obviously a crypto term, Chad, of course, is going to do well. So yeah, I got in, turned my $6 into 240. I was super excited about it. And then all of a sudden, like 6 hours later, they just pulled the plug. Twitter community gone, deleted. Telegram community gone. The entire token sold. All of the country tokens crashed. You know, it was just such a shame because
How are the country tokens related to that main token?
Because they were all competing, right? So in the game, you compete and it randomly picks two countries to compete against each other. Whichever one has the better price action between the two countries wins. And so that country gets stronger and they get a bomb. Then they can destroy other countries using that bomb. So it's like, it was super gamified. It was such a good system. And I just can't believe that it rubbed because, to be honest, if they actually carried this through, I think it would have easily become a top 100 token with the way it was going.
How much did you think they took?
I'm not sure, but it must have been.
It's tough to figure out, eh?
It must have been a lot.
Yeah, millions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where are we now? So to conclude this segment.
I have $35 now on my Solana wallet. And I have deployed that $22 into Near Protocol.
So your total wallet value right now is?
$55.
And I'm at 102.69, starting with 100. I should feel more joy, but I have no joy in seeing you squirm.
You know what? It was really fun. I had a great time.
Yeah, you had a great time.
But lesson learned is always take profits. And I always say always take profits. But when you're in the moment,
yeah, you always say at least
easier.
sell half. You always tell me that, at least sell half. And then you don't do it yourself.
Easier said than done, especially when you see so much potential. You're like, yeah, I'm going to go all in, you know, and yeah, just luckily I sold before it crashed too hard. I would have lost everything. I was really all into this token. I think I had like $3 in Solana at that point.
I'm going to put two graphics, one over my head, just plus 269%, and yours is going to be minus 45, I guess.
But if you're counting it from the 240 or 210, I forget the value.
No, I'm counting week on week. If we do it with yours, you know, there's no space in the shot. Like to have your graph, it doesn't fit. Yeah, it's not in there. I mean, how do we do that? So, yeah. All right. That was the market news. So. And our trading competition. It's basically a lesson learned that even though I'm very exposed to crypto, being 50% in Bitcoin with my portfolio and 25% NVIDIA and 25% in Broadcom, that is already very daring. So right now, I think I'm beating the crap out of you, young lady.
You know
2.69%.
I'll make it back. And
all right.
The thing is, now I am sold on my degenerate attitude towards this trading competition. Just a disclaimer here. I am a degen at heart, but there's a reason that I started this with $76 in my not even MetaMask.
It's true. You didn't start with 100, so we should actually look at the percentage from 76 to 55.
No, that's the 22 that I've kept in USDT.
Oh, okay. So we both started with 100. Okay. Yeah. All right. Got it. All right. Then I think we're done for this week. Do we want to ask a question to the audience? That's something that I was wondering about. Do we have something that we wanted people to suggest that we discuss next week? Any token that you want us to look at? We'd love to hear it.
Because I do get asked where people can find crypto education. So maybe that's something that we can talk about next week.
All right. Then I think we're done for this week. Like, subscribe, follow. See us everywhere.
Thanks for joining.
See you next week. Thanks.